Hello, welcome to SquishiVision, where I give my, in this case, immediate thoughts on the Bad Batch immediately after I've watched it, without any chance to really look into it too deeply. This is going to be my stream of conscious, so don't expect, very in-depth analysis or Easter eggs. I'm just gonna basically have like a trail of thoughts. I'm just gonna move this so you can't see behind the curtain. There we go. More pink. There we go. Right, that was a very cute episode, and actually I enjoyed it more than I thought I would for what was otherwise a bit of a filler episode. Right, I have some thoughts. I'm gonna spew them off if I get them. Um, how did Omega get the Stormtrooper toy bag? Pretty sure she dropped that. Wrecker has his headaches, and I can't remember if I commented on this before, but someone else has definitely commented on it online. That's probably his inhibitor chip going a bit weird, and that's foreshadowing that actually makes me nervous. Um, Bad Batch are quite uncharacteristically foolish to not realize that Sid is the person who directly tells them that they're not Sid and don't even entertain that option. Considering how much of a trope it is, you think they're more genre savvy. I'm not sure why Omega tells, unless it's meant to be some. Unless we're going back to my theory about Omega's slightly telepathic or force sensitive. Have I mentioned the fan theory that Omega is actually meant to be a clone of Palpatine because she holds herself in the same way? I like the twist that Muti was the Rancor, and I wasn't expecting us to get an origin story for the Rancor in The Last Jedi, but we do. Um, a bit annoyed at how easily captured they were. These are meant to be like the most special ops force of the Republic Army, and they get captured so easily. And then of course they tell Omega, who for no reason they tell to go back to the ship, even though she'd already proved herself, to come and help them out. Well, they're relying on her to help her out. It's a very done trope, but I guess we deal with it. Oh, I had no thought. See, I told you I'll lose them quite quickly. Um, I think that maybe actually all the thoughts. So yeah, it was. I enjoyed the episode. I didn't think I would. I think it'd be quite. I thought it'd be quite fillery, but actually it was quite interesting. And I guess now we have a kind of. I can't remember how long this series is, but I think we're like what, a quarter or a third of it through, and we've kind of got the whole weekly premise of them doing jobs for Sid in order to get paid back. I like that kind of sinister end point, which is when she kind of blackmails him into also being with her, otherwise she'll sell him out. I'm not sure how like serious I'm meant to take it, but that was a nice touch. Um, oh yeah, I remember my last thought. They tell off Omega for playing around with the communicator after she's just given it, but that's actually a very good way to test the radio. So really, she was just doing it right. Just saying. Um, yeah, and also it's better like like, oh, go stay with the ship, kid. We don't your liability when at this point you should be like, just give her a job that keeps her out of the way, but also to her talents, because she has talents clearly. So do that. But yeah, no, in 3 minutes I managed to kind of mention my thoughts. It's pretty decent. Um, might just keep it nice and succinct. Oh yeah, I like the fact that they captured the Rancor by literally just like it was actually quite funny when we cut back to them and they're just like they're both very tiredly punching each other, and it's not it wasn't too cheesy or cringy, it wasn't too violent, and last minute it was a nice joke I actually enjoyed. So that's good. I still don't like the fact that they're well, I don't know. We see, okay, so onto the Wrecker's problematic because he's a strong intellectually disabled type. We get the nice kind of touches here that he's more intelligent than he seems, and he's able to like think for himself and come up with ideas that help him and things like that. But I mean, as a whole, the entire Bad Batch were like fairly inept this episode. To be honest, they were like, yeah, that's my biggest issue. Is like these like the special ops people for the Republic. Oh, okay. I remember before. It's a shame we didn't delve into more deeply. Now that you have these clone troopers who are traitors and deserters. Because we last time I touched on this was with Tup, who was in the was was in a previous episode, but was it Tup? Yeah, I think so. No, cut. But this would have been a good opportunity to get a clone perspective on slavery because really the clones are slaves. And like we're at the point where like Omega's like what's slavery? I don't know what slavery is, and it's a very interesting question for Omega to ask of the clones because really these clones were only created as a result of a financial transaction, and as a result they are now property because they were bred and bought by the Republic. They're basically cattle. Um, and yeah, it's interesting person like Omega would ask that because Omega is herself cattle. She's property of the Kaminoans, but she doesn't realize it. And she's asking what slavery, not realizing that she's technically, an ex-slave. Um, and the events were like, oh, well, slavery is when you sell people as objects, and it's obviously bad. But they talk about this that happens to other people, not to themselves. Um, and then as bit knowing how Omega was like, oh, well, that sounds terrible. Like, yes, of course, it sounds terrible. It was written in a way which was like it was written very kind of for the audience. It was like kind of like, but children, slavery is bad, and I don't know. I think most children would understand slavery to be bad. Certainly the children who are the normal demographic for the Bad Batch, which is like teen, uh, mature children to teen. It's not, it's quite a violent show. Like we had a bloody execution in the last episode and people got burnt to death. Or the episode before that rather. So you didn't know why slavery was bad, so it was a bit annoying that they kind of forced that line, being like, "Well, that sounds bad." Like, I mean, it's poor execution. Like, it's not. It was written in a way which is obviously there as a a moral point for a moral point for the audience rather than that's naturally what the character would say because it doesn't. It sounds really forced. So the point. It would be really interesting to kind of have the clones, these former cattle of the Republic, briefly discuss their status as, former cattle and how that relates to slavery and actually bonds on that level. But because the clones in the Clone Wars would avoid talking about that, notably because they're quite loyal to their cause. And because they're indoctrinated, and it was like between Cut and Rex about loyalty versus ownership, and Cut was like, well, actually, we're not really loyal because we're owned, we're property, and that's kind of the closest we've got to this discussion, and it's canon, or at least as far as I've seen. So it's not as if the writers and creators aren't aware of that insinuation. It's just a shame they don't actually explore in this episode. Maybe it would have been too much runtime, but I think it was the perfect opportunity to do so, or at least signpost that there's a degree of irony here that these clones don't realize they're also ex-cattle. Not, obviously to equate cattle and slavery. Well, I mean, equate it in a sense of it as a way to condemn slavery rather than to demean people who have been ex-slaves. I felt I need to clarify that. Yeah, but that's my thoughts on this episode. Like I said, surprised I was actually no. I think this series isn't going to do well, but it's kind of not. It's been moderately my interest over the last few weeks. But the first episode was quite good, and then the rest has been kind of procedurally normal stuff. But I guess that's how I consider the Clone Wars. It's just I didn't have to wait week and week for the Clone Wars. Then again, this is post season 7 of the Clone Wars, which was quite cinematic. And yeah, when they made the first bunch of the Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, it was to sell toys. I mean, all film is really sell toys at the end of the day, or at least all children films, all family films. Things like Star Wars, big franchises, things like Star Wars are there to sell toys, unfortunately, because merchandise is where a lot of what Disney makes is done for merchandise, because merchandise is where Disney makes lots of profit. So a whole bunch of the first few seasons of Clone Wars, they were churning out, because the more it churned out, the more they could use big advertisements to get the stuff. And then obviously the Disney Plus ones were made as actually pieces of art, because it was to finish off the story more than anything else. And so that's also what these are made because people want to tell these stories, less so sell merchandise. I don't think these are really selling any merchandise. I've not seen it back to merchandise. So you need a bit more care into it, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm rambling now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. To me, I'm probably gonna do some streaming later tonight on my gaming channel for those of you who will somehow watch this between now and then and decide, hey, I like more of this guy. I'll see what he does with gaming. I'm gonna try and finish off story missions of Red Dead Online, so I can put Red Dead Online to bed. And then move on to the next game. I'm currently making a list of all the games I have on PlayStation and listing them in the priority I want to go through, because I actually have a lot of games that I've collected from PS Plus. I tried so hard to stream PUBG on my PC, but it's just, I don't know, I'm having problems with PUBG. I was also trying to stream Star Trek Online, and I'm having trouble with Star Trek Online now, which is annoying. It's fine, it's fine when I'm not streaming. This isn't relevant. You guys won't know this. I'm going to end. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you, like I said, later on or next week. Wrong one.